When we spend time talking to some of our clients in the travel space, one of the big challenges that they have been facing in the last couple of years and will continue to face in the next 2 or 3 years is really living within the constraints of some of the legacy technology environments that they have grown up in. You remember this, many of these programs began in an analog world, and they are now competing with very digitally enabled programs and technology systems. And I think they are looking to unwind data systems, mainframes, and really thinking about how they can match the speed of their desire to evolve their program in the way that consumers experience it with the technology that is really required to actually serve up that experience. I think it is going to continue to be a challenge for these organizations over the next couple of years as they try to make the right investments in their technology systems, as they try to connect them to all of their legacy capabilities, and all the while ensuring that the consumer never experiences any of that, that they feel like they continue to have a completely seamless, best-in-class experience from door to door.
The big challenge for 2023 was inflation, actually. It made a lot of cost increase within different businesses. And unfortunately, the byproduct of that was a lot of programs, especially big programs, eroded the amount of value that they give to their members. We call this, I guess, death by accountants. Increasingly, accountants landing in senior roles within businesses and having quite a big say over how companies are run, and looking at the costs associated with the loyalty program. A lot of them decided to cut a lot of cost out of the program and reduce the benefits. And as a result, lots of consumer backlash, but also a less exciting and stimulating program.
If we, in our conversations with our customers, we see a various list of challenges in this context. The first and the most typical one is, how can I measure the effectiveness and the success of my program? What can I do to make it tangible, what the contribution is of the loyalty program towards my bottom line? The second challenge we typically see is, how can I fasten my time to market of new features and product offerings over my loyalty program? Typically, we see that legacy systems or outdated IT infrastructures is obstructing and blocking our customers in being fast to market with new developments and new features in the loyalty program. Third and last is, how can I overcome internal battles and challenges to internally sell my loyalty program? Which is a quite typical question we get from our customers who are facing resistance internally on the success of the program, where we look at, okay, how we can overcome that.
One of the key challenges that we've seen over the last year and expect to see continue into 2024 is around everyone's favorite topic du jour, which is Gen AI. Gen AI has really captured the world's attention, kind of consumers' attention, the media's attention, and for good reason, because it is very exciting, and we can already see the benefits in our daily lives of using it for a variety of tasks. But let's be real. When it comes to the business world, and when it comes to the specific loyalty program applications of Gen AI, we're still in a bit of an ambiguous territory in terms of how it can be harnessed and applied for value. And that's because inside the walls of many companies, Gen AI is still a capability looking for a problem or a business outcome to solve or drive. So what we're expecting our clients to do, and many companies to do, is to no longer look at just Gen AI as a tool and go hunting for problems to solve, but it's actually take a look at your customers and your associates, your loyalty experience. Take a look at your loyalty program processes and operations, and actually work back from the pain points, the opportunities that you see out in your organizations or out in the field as your customers and associates are experiencing your program. And for those that you think there's a lot of value in solving, then go look for the most effective tools to do so, Gen AI being a great one for many of them.
I think that the challenges that loyalty programs face this year as well as arguably over time to date, are shifting from a rewards program, earn and burn in the loyalty program vernacular view, to being positioned in the company as a vehicle for growing individual customer value. Since arguably that's the ball game, is how do we grow customer value at the individual customer level. I think that the challenge loyalty programs face is particularly in terms of advocating loyalty program investments to the broader enterprise, is demonstrating that loyalty programs are much more and can be much more than earning and redemption mechanisms, but in fact are the vehicle for managing and growing customer lifetime value. That relates to the chronic challenge then of advocating and securing investment in the growth of these programs.
I think I touched on some of the challenges in 2023. Firstly, just to recap on award inventory or benefits. So what's that increased pressure or the downward impact of that on redemption options? So how are we making sure that that flywheel of loyalty keeps turning? If it's not in our own brands, it's in other ecosystems. So that partner network is incredibly important. I do think that's also a challenge statement, because loyalty or the benefits of loyalty are becoming ubiquitous. So I think a lot of let's use the example of the co-brand credit cards or some of our retail loyalty propositions, they have a lot of similarities between them. And so we do need to up the game. And I think we saw some of that in 2023 as well. Those challenges starting to force the hand or influence the way that programs designed their strategy. I think one of the big things which definitely tips into next year as well is ability to move at the same pace as the market. We use a lot of big, heavy tech, and it doesn't always move at the same pace. So our speed to market can really impact, our ability to be real and, on top of the game. So I think that's a challenge which will also influence the future. And really what the right tools are for the business, not just for today. And I'd say, the pure loyalty, but what are we looking at for tomorrow? Obviously, we see a lot of new tech coming into the marketplace that, 2023 and onwards need to be thinking now about what the future looks like and not waiting until it happens.
The main challenges in 2023 for most of the programs were really around kind of budget, right? They want to do things, they want to move forward and experiment, but I think there were still some constraints around budgets. People are still a bit uncomfortable with where the economy was going, the impact of inflation, and on all of our wallets in terms of our spending power. So I think there was there was a lot of holding back on spending. I've seen that there's lots of thinking going on, but not a lot of doing. So I suspect some of that will continue, but you might start to see some more relaxation around the budget constraints into 2024, which I think is good. I think we've got to a stage where we can get a new level of cadence going forward in how we evolve these programs, and that's good news for everyone. I think there's a big there are some concerns on the horizon for 24. More notably for me, I think that's hit the headlines recently is around the grocery space, where the Competition Commission are starting to look at kind of member-only pricing. And I don't know really whether that will have some ramifications for other programs. So I think that's a watch out. I'm not quite sure what the implication of that is going to be, but something that we should really keep in the back of our minds.
The interesting part with this one is just keeping up with developments. So much is happening in different parts of the world. Touched just on Delta as one example, but IAG Loyalty are off busy doing things. There's a really interesting bit from Gartner. That their research says that 1 in 3 businesses that don't have a loyalty program will have one by 2027. So trying to keep all of that up to date and trying to get loyalty security as a relevant matter for program managers when new products, partnerships and revamping programs are way more interesting than doing things like security. And stopping hackers stealing people's miles is a little bit of a challenge, and I see that being a big challenge in 2024.